But I'm here today with Kendra, Chantelle. And the reason I wanted to talk with you, Kendra, is because you are a two-time returning champion of the September Straw Challenge in 23 and 24. And I just wanted to pick your brain about your experience with the whole thing and kind of help maybe some other people get excited about doing some kind of regular straw practice or some kind of voice practice because you are also a voice teacher yourself, just for anybody who doesn't know, which is probably everyone. For several years now, I have run something called the September Straw Challenge. And what that is a program where we just do straw phonation every single day in September. September has 30 days. It starts with the letter S. It's a tidy little month to do this in. And so the last couple of years have been more formal about the process in that people had to send in videos every single day about their straw practice to actually show that they did it. And then there was a cash drop prize drawing at the end. So it's been a little bit more formal. You've been there for 2 years. And yeah, I love your take on things and things holistically. And so I just wanted to ask you how was the process the first year versus the second year, or what got you into it, or wherever you want to start? Like, what has your relationship with the September Straw Challenge been like?
And I love the September Straw Challenge.
Apparently.
So thank you for organizing that. I tend to just be like a pretty goal oriented person. I have learned through the years that I operate best with like structure, or like if I have a little plan, I'm going to do it. If I just leave it up to chance, it's not going to happen for me. So, especially last year's September Straw Challenge, I feel like just brought me back home to myself in so many ways. Because I was postpartum like 3 months with my second baby at
Mm.
the time. And I could talk for hours about all of the changes that your voice goes through with like pregnancy and childbirth and all the things. But that 3 month mark, both times with my children now, I just was like, you're really settling into like lack of sleep, and your body has gone through so much. So you're just really tired. And you also, though, have this desire to kind of get back to parts of yourself that are outside of like there's a tiny baby and I'm trying to help it survive, but also I'm a whole person. So when your September Straw Challenge came on my radar, the first year that I did it, I was like, oh, I need this so bad. I need something to point me back to myself. And my voice was really struggling. It had gotten a lot lower, and I felt like I didn't really have I didn't have a ton of core coordination. Like there was just a lot of things out of whack. And with my first pregnancy, my first child, I had been so disciplined and like vocalized so much more throughout the process. And with two, I was just like, oh my gosh, there's nothing left, whatever. And so 3 months postpartum, I was like, my voice is a hot mess and I don't know where to start. So the straw challenge was perfect because it was just some little thing, and the accountability kept me honest and it kept me focused. And I kind of did it because I was like wanting to check something off my list. And I think I was craving a little bit of community. And this is a way that I could actually have that. But I was sincerely shocked when I heard and felt a difference in my voice after 30 days. Especially because I don't know how everyone out there is, but I am a recovering perfectionist, so hardcore, and I'm a reluctant, like, good enoughist. So the parameters of your straw challenge are like, I don't care, just sing a little bit on the straw every day. And that to me almost felt like, how's this going to work? I need rules. I need to do more. I need an assignment, but I very much was like, no, just a little bit. Like if you just sing a verse of a song or a little bit of whatever, it is enough. That's going to be enough. We're going to do the thing and we're not going to add to it. We're doing enough. And just doing the bare minimum or whatever, I saw such a difference in my voice. So I like jumped at the opportunity to join the second year around because I was like, I am in better shape to begin with. And I also just like love a little structure, and I'm all about habit stacking. So it was fun for me to see how many different things I was already doing that I could like throw straw singing into.
Hmm.
because for me, sometimes the challenge is finding a new 5 minutes. And that's kind of the argument that I may hear if I'm trying to tell a client or a friend why they need to be practicing or straw singing or something. It's like, well, there's no time left in the day. And the reality is, there's a lot of time in the day. You're doing plenty of things that you could also have a straw in your mouth singing. So that was kind of my approach this second year was like, how can I like keep this into just like habits that I've already made time for? I don't know.
Yeah. And were you able to do that?
Very much. Yeah. It was really fun to like add it into either like face massage or going for a walk, or like if I was, just something around the house, making my coffee. There was something I was doing that the time was already spoken for, but like I could do it while straw singing.
Well, that's that's fantastic. That's it, right? Like one of the great benefits of straw singing is that, or I should say straw phonation, is that you can do it anywhere. You've got time to fit
Mm-hmm.
it in. You keep a straw in your car, right? And you,
Always. Yeah.
yeah. So did you do anything to formally kind of A/B how your sound was or what your voice was feeling like at the beginning and end of either of those months, either year?
I did the first year, and my big regret for this year was that I didn't do that. And I didn't consciously not do it. I just forgot. But
Yeah.
um, last year's straw challenge, I filmed myself singing like a part of a song, and I worked a lot on that song with the straw challenge
Mm.
that first year, and
Mhm.
then I recorded myself singing it like the final day of the straw challenge. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is
Wow.
so cool. And just like almost unrecognizable. It was amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really important for all of us to remember is that because we are humans and we're programmed to need to see process and to like quantify things like
Mm-hmm.
rate ourselves or see some, but it's just satisfying, right? Who cares
Yeah.
why? It's just very satisfying to have that first data point and then to see it afterwards too, because that's what happens a lot of times. I don't know about for you, but like somebody will come in and then maybe I won't see them for a month and they come in the next time and it's like, what is going on here? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's something like fundamentally different about how you're making sound. And sometimes what they'll say is, well, I've just been doing straw every day. And they have no idea.
I love that part of it too. And something that I think is a really cool observation that I made this time around, because now my daughters are like 3.5 and 16 months old, and it's the middle of November now. So I haven't like done my daily straw singing like to turn in my video since the end of September. But obviously, I straw sing and straw phonate and do that frequently. But even now, like 2.5 months later, every time one of my little girls picks up a straw, they sing into it. And so it's not just ourselves that we affect with our habits. And that part has blown my mind, because I would have told you there's no way I could teach a 3-year old or a 1-year old to sing into a straw in water or like sing into a straw, but they both know exactly, like they don't they think singing before they think drinking when they see a straw. And I think that's so cool. But they just walk around the house, like if they find straws in their, I have a drawer of like kids cups and stuff, and like they see a straw, they're both like, ooh, ooh. And it's so funny to me, but I'm also like, 30 days of repetitive action, not only imprinted on me, but like everyone around me, you
Oh my
know?
gosh, the implications for that one, that right there for the whole world, for all of our
Yeah,
lives, like all the time is like, yes,
so
people,
cool.
I hope you're hearing this and I hope you're feeling this very deeply because that's it. Like I just wrote someone yesterday. I was like, the only way to lead is by example, right? Like I can't
Yeah.
influence anybody except for myself. And that's the only
Mm-hmm.
thing that really speaks.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
cannot repeat what has not been modeled for us. Like,
Oh my gosh.
we just
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say, the audience won't understand this, but I have this in my image in my head of you and your 3-year-old over your shoulder, and you're both straw singing in the video, and she's holding this pitch and she's just driving this pitch and you're singing all around it. I'm like, that girl's going to be a harmony singer because she is not like, she can
Mhm.
hold her own pitch. It was
Mhm.
incredible to witness. I was like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, I'm like, I get super excited and I try so hard not to project. Like, I really don't ever want my kids to feel like, oh, my mom wants me to do this thing. But I'm really excited when I think about the potential for their like ears and singing ability just because they've been immersed in it like
Mhm.
in such a unique way. So I'm really like hopefully hands off, just excited to see if they're interested in using these little weird advantages at all because from like my experimental brain of being like what happens when a baby is like hearing this stuff in the womb and then for as long as my babies would sleep on me I would like teach lessons while they were napping if they were sleeping like
Wow.
if they would wake up, I would be like, okay, I'm going to send you off to caretaker or whatever. But as long as my clients were okay with it, I'd be like, baby's asleep. Is that okay? So like they
Wow.
have both slept through and just like heard so much vocalization.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Okay, so moving on to future years. One of the things that I have been kicking around a little bit and almost pulled the trigger on this year was spreading out the September straw challenge to make it a little bigger. Now, first,
Mm,
understand, everyone out there understand that I have no claims to this September straw challenge. If you want to copy and do your own November straw challenge or January straw challenge, have at it. The straw is free, it is available to everyone. You figure it out for yourself. And if we wanted to expand the September Straw Challenge next year, do you think we could get some Nashville voice teachers involved or some voice teacher friends and see about going next level? In that, every teacher would still be in charge. They could run it however they want.
mhm.
But what do you think about like garnering some momentum, even if it's just you and me? And I'm putting you on the spot here too. I don't expect you to like, um, anyway, what do you think about that idea?
I love that idea because I mean, everything is best when shared, right? Like,
Hmm. Agreed.
so, and I think that's the whole point. I could be wrong, but it's from my perspective, it seems like you really, the heart of this whole movement is to like shed a light on straw phonation and like
Mhm.
maybe somebody new hears about it or somebody realizes the power of it. And I think that Nashville is great at community in some parts of our industry, but I feel like as like with vocal coaches and teachers, like there could be more community.
Mm.
Um, I think maybe sometimes there's this sense of like, well, if they're taking with you, they're not taking from me. So like we're not on the same team. But I love how you've always kind of tackled that belief system from a totally different place of like we rise together, a rising tide lifts all ships.
Yep.
And the more we know, the more the entire industry gets better, right?
Yep.
So I love the idea of inviting other coaches. Like I'm definitely in. I'm in as a consumer. I'm in as a collaborator. I'm just in because I love it. But I love the idea of seeing how many other coaches we could get to do this because,
Yeah.
like, what does that ripple mean?
Uh-huh.
Because every single person like me, like, I'm one person that took your straw challenge, and now there's like two little people singing in
Exactly.
straws everywhere they go. And there was, the clients that I taught that month while I'm really focused on the straw and ways that I can incorporate it. So, every one person that does it ripples out into like infinite other groups of people. So if we grow that, that's amazing.
Yep. Okay, great. And I also really appreciate in myself like getting older and being able to plan way in advance because the more in advance I can think about something, the better it can go. So anybody seeing this video, please take these ideas and run with them yourselves. And if you want to get involved next September, then let's do it. Yeah. Great. The other thing I wanted to touch on really quick with you, because I see it in your social media all the time and know this about you from knowing you. You are a superhero in terms of self care. And what I mean by this is you have
Thank
a
you.
strong value for self-care, and you're not afraid to layer up on the self-care. And I think this is extraordinary because I have always, up until almost very recently, always been like, oh, I'll do a good thing for myself, but not too much. And I'll do this good thing for myself. But you seem to be able to like do this and this and this and this, like just all kinds of self-care things. So how did you get so darn interested in taking good care of yourself?
Yeah. I'll try to keep this short because I
Okay.
feel like it's a long journey.
Okay.
But I think the short answer is that self care should be a daily practice, not like an emergency solution. And I think that I had maybe like some old programming I had to release, just some unhelpful narratives about like work life balance and where your worth lies. There's a lot of things that I've undone, especially probably in like the last decade, I would say. But self care always felt like something that almost like it almost had a shame around it or something. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
still unpacking why I felt that way or where that came from. But it was almost like something that was only rewarded. And, like you're not worthy of that if you're not doing this, this, and this. And I've really shifted my mindset of like, you cannot care for anyone if you
Mm-hmm.
don't care for yourself. And, especially when I think I really started to change the narrative a lot when I started to have clients because I would listen to the advice I was giving them and I would know that I wasn't doing that. And that felt really icky to me because authenticity is very important to me. Like I want to keep it very real. And I believed what I was giving them was great advice. And then I was looking at my own lifestyle and going like, that's so interesting that you're telling everybody how to make time for themselves and do this for their nervous system. And here you are running on 4 hours of sleep, saying yes to everything, not doing any of the things you're preaching. And, when I looked at my nervous system and the way that I felt, just like in physical health, I feel like I was experiencing the product of the lifestyle I was living. So I started to just kind of take my own advice and then it was like I just could never get back into hustle culture.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that is that feels really like anti what my body wants. And I'm just really connected to and like trying always to get more connected to hearing what does my body want? How could that be wrong? How could that be selfish? And just like honoring that. And I think another layer in this maybe assignment for me parenthood you you are truly like responsible for other people in a way that no other relationship in your life has had this level of like permanence or constant. And it's fabulous. Like I love it so much. It teaches me a lot. Like it's one of my favorite journeys I've ever been on. But something that became very clear was you have to be intentional and like structured with your self-care. Otherwise, it is just gone for good. Um, and I think my ideas of what self-care has looked like over the years have massively changed. Like 10 years ago, I'd be like, self care is like going to a fancy restaurant and getting your nails done and going shopping and
Yeah.
all this stuff that I don't want to do if I have all the time and money now. Now it looks like eating food that makes me feel great and saying kind things about myself and taking a hot bath or doing a face massage, just like little things throughout the day that like if you are a cup and your nervous system is like what's in the cup, I think of how am I getting like water out of the cup so it doesn't overflow, like because
Mm-hmm.
what I don't want to do is have like a horrible reaction to something very tiny because I haven't taken care of myself in however long. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want a 3-year-old to spill milk and then me freak out because I haven't done anything to make me feel better in 6 months. So if I have all these little touches throughout the day, my cup stays like far from overflowing. So my capacity is so much greater, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, you're giving a master class here in
I'm good.
and
I'm
how to
like, do I
live
make
well.
sense?
Like, yeah. So what's a piece of advice that you would give to your one of your younger singers who is open and really like could take in what you had to say? What are some basic places to start?
One of my favorite pieces of advice to give to all singers, but especially young singers, is like, if it feels wrong, whether that be the arrangement, the
Mm,
producer, whatever, like, trust that. You don't have to look further to figure out why it feels wrong.
mm,
You may not find out ever. You may find out 12 years later. I don't know. But there has never, ever, ever been a single instance where something felt not good in my body and I pushed and was glad that I did. So
that's
like
so
if it's
true.
not a full body yes, don't do it.
Yeah.
I think as young singers, especially, we're so terrified to miss any opportunity that we're like, well, let me talk myself into this. But
Yep.
you know, on some level, there's a greater wisdom in you that knows this is not for me. And trust that you are not missing out when you are honoring what does not feel right.
Yeah. And not giving into that part of your brain that's like, but what if and
Yeah.
no. No.
And I would even argue that ties back to lack mentality, which we are so
Mm,
ingrained with. You know,
yep.
lack mentality tells you if you don't just settle for this thing,
Yep.
there's nothing else coming.
Yep.
But abundance mentality tells you like there's literally no way on the planet you can miss what's yours. So
Right.
you feel no, no. Like end
Speaking
of
of
story.
the ship analogy that you were bringing up earlier, like years and years ago, this like popped in the middle of a lesson, and we were talking about that ship that comes in, but then your ship sails. My ship has sailed. Guess what? There's another one on the horizon right after it. I promise you. Like there is another one, and guess what? They are like lined up for like miles behind, and they're going to keep coming in, and you've literally never missed something ever.
Ever. And
Yeah.
you could even like go further into that analogy and like some ships are probably just coming to get the water moving, you know? Like
It's a good
there's
point
no
too.
way it's not working in your favor. We think, oh my gosh, this boat passed me by, I'm done. And we can't see the big plan that's like, no, that boat made the waves perfect to handle what's coming, which is a way bigger ship that's like for you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's a very big message that we all need to be potentially entertaining right now with
Yeah.
everything the way it is. So,
Yes, there's
yeah,
another boat coming.
yeah, there is something else coming.
The
um,
water's murky right now, but like that might work in our favor.
yeah, we don't know. We
Yeah.
literally don't know.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this stuff and to just share one of my favorite things right now, which is just do the thing over and over and over again. Just keep doing the things, right? Because
Mhm.
I don't know if this happens to you ever, but my brain wants one thing that's going to fix everything. So if I do straw phonation, then all of my voice issues are going to get fixed. Or if I have this one supplement, it's going to like fix everything. And it's not about that. It's about layering in and continuing
Mhm.
practice daily, structure, providing yourself with routines. And you have to exercise every day physically, since your voice is your body or is in your
Yeah.
body, you have to keep it going. So anything we can do to talk about that, I think is incredible. And again, you have given us a masterclass
Yay.
in this interview. So thank you. And then one thing I like to ask everybody at the end is it okay if we possibly talk again sometime and do
Oh,
another
yes,
interview?
please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. If you
Thank
have
you
an
so much
idea,
for having me.
absolutely. This was great. I wanted to have a longer form conversation with you versus just a little Instagram back and forth because I knew you were going to have a ton of wisdom to share with us.
Thank
And
you.
I really appreciate you. And I'm so thrilled to know you. And yeah, thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.